On International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, iMedia conducts a special report on Nigeria's alarming drug abuse and trafficking trends. This report highlights the rise of dangerous substances and now with fuels, crime and corruption. This special report also calls for policymakers, parents and individuals to take immediate action to address the growing crisis and ensure a safer future.
The effects of drug trafficking on Nigerians are far-reaching and devastating, with significant consequences for the country's youth. According to UNODC, in the year 2024's report, over 14.3 million people in Nigeria are reported using drugs in the past year. Cannabis and opioids are the most commonly abused drugs in Nigeria. Young adults between the ages 25 to 39 constitute the bulk of drug abusers in Nigeria, with males recording about 25.2% who are more likely to abuse drugs than females, who are just 8%. The drug use prevalence in Nigeria is highest in the southwest zone, which is 22.4%, and lowest in the north-central zone, which is 10%. Furthermore, in the year 2020, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, reported that 10.6 million Nigerians are involved in drug abuse, representing 5.5% of the population, and in 2024, the indices have increased to 14.3 million people, which is equivalent to 40% of the Nigerian youths who are hard drug users. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, in 2020, 23.1% of drug users in Nigeria are aged between 25 to 24, while 75% of drug trafficking cases in Nigeria involve cannabis.
The agency has been all out discharging at maximum capacity its responsibilities, seizures of illicit drugs, and I'll tell you that in the last 3 years, the NDLA has made over 52,901 arrests of offenders. These are human beings, not stones, not trees, not animals. That's probably the highest or one of the highest in the world.
The direct effects of drug trafficking on Nigerian youths, particularly the brainwashed youths, have led to a decline in academic performance and a loss of talented young people.
Look at from the family. Whether those involved in drug abuse or those involved in the trafficking of these drugs, they come from homes. Home is actually the genesis, the foundation of most of these problems. Parenting. When you and I probably were growing up, some of the things that the young ones these days can do, we dare not. You don't try it. They will whip the devil out of you.
Community whipping.
God bless you. It's not, yeah, those days, it's not only your parents or your brother or sister that can whip you. A member of the community can grab you. What are you doing? Eh? Then grab you and flog the hell out of you. So all those things are no longer there. Even back home now, a lot of parents have abandoned their responsibilities. There is not what you call parenting again. So we need to go back. That's a major challenge, whether in addressing drug abuse or in addressing drug trafficking. Because all of these people, you can trace their genesis to a family.
It has also increased mental health issues, overdose cases, and the spread of infectious diseases. However, using of hard drugs has fueled crime and violence, with young people becoming embroiled in criminal activities.
Drug can cause a lot of things. So the effect of drugs is very dangerous to the society. People that take drugs can rape. They cause nuisance to the society. So I think the effect of drugs on individuals is much, and like I said earlier, what the government needs to do is just to increase the capacity and then to create an awareness too. There's little awareness on this in different languages, not only in English. They can use different, like the major dialect, Hausa, Yoruba, and then Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo, and some other tribes too.
Drug abuse has placed a significant economic burden on families and the health care system, which has led to family breakdowns, social isolation, and a loss of community cohesion. The statistics paint a dire picture of the devastating impact of drug trafficking on Nigerian youth. Urgent action is needed to address this crisis and protect the future of Nigerians' young people. Meanwhile, some Nigerians have expressed their opinions that the Nigerian government and agencies that were saddled with the responsibilities to combat drug trafficking are not doing enough despite the devastating level of drug abuse in Nigeria.
All these things are things that the NDLEA needs to work hard. It's not all about showcasing if you look at the numbers of people that they have been showcasing in the television, I used to watch them, I would see that they are full of poor people who are struggling to survive. It doesn't end up there. Then if you are falling on them, that means you are just deceiving Nigerians. The real people are the sponsors of the drugs. The trafficking in drugs. They are the real people that you should go after. And who are they? They are the politicians.
In my own case, I say they are trying their best, but the issue of that drugs issue, they are not doing anything. Because I could remember the time they are saying there are so many people are taking drugs. They have seen so many drugs, so places. But for me, they need to do more.
They can drink alcohol. It's a social drug. But yet, alcohol, under the influence of it, can fight a lot of people or injure some people. And yet, the federal government did not take much action on that one. But the ones that, if you take like something like cocaine, heroin, tramadol, and so forth, these are the ones that cause a lot of havoc.
I like to put this right and in proper perspective there. The agency has over 80% success rate in its prosecution, and that's why, again, in the last 3 years, the NDLEA under its current leadership of General Mohammed Buba Marwa, retired, has successfully and diligently prosecuted and gotten more than 9,000 offenders convicted, precisely 9,034 offenders convicted within the same period. Go and check it. Google is available. That's probably the highest or one of the highest anywhere in the world within the same time frame, under 3 years. Now, when you also look at the seizures, the agency has also done tremendously well with more than 7.6 million kilograms of assorted illicit drug. That's 7,651 tons of that's assorted illicit substances. That's, just imagine 250 long trailers loaded with assorted illicit drugs. In your imagination, just view what level of harm that would have done to our youths, to our families, to our communities, and to our society and the country as a whole. And for us, a gram seized is a gram less what is available on the street. So imagine more than almost 8 million kilograms of assorted illicit drugs. I also doubt if there's anywhere in the world that quantity of illicit drugs has been seized within the same time. The agency, in conjunction with our stakeholders, felt there was the need to amend the current law, that's the Establishment Act of the agency, to give it more power and also to further strengthen the deterrence effect of the law.
iMedia report investigation revealed that the Nigerian legislative has taken some measures as the Nigerian Senate has passed a bill to amend the NDLEA Act, introducing stricter penalties, including the death penalty for drug trafficking offenses.
So I will be advising the government to have what we call mitigation on how they could cope the drug abuse among our youths and some politicians, not just the youth.
Through prevention, which is key, which is one of the things, and that's why you see the theme of this year's World Drug Day is the evidence is clear: invest in prevention. Now, that resonates very well with all that the agency, all the strategies that the agency has been implementing in our drug demand reduction activities. One, on June 26, 2021, the NDLA launched our social advocacy campaign called War Against Drug Abuse, WADA. Now, that's a social advocacy initiative to mobilize all Nigerians, whoever you may be, to buy in and take ownership of the fight against substance abuse. Don't forget that this is not about President Bola Tinubu. This is not about General Mara, who is the chairman of NDLA. This is not even about the NDLA as an agency coordinating the fight against substance abuse and illicit trafficking in Nigeria. This is not even about the government of Nigeria. This is about you and I. This is about everybody. And that's why the vehicle that we have deployed in this campaign, the strategy is a whole of society approach to it. That is getting everybody involved. You play your role, I play my role. Point that there was a change in government. So that bill could not be assented to then, and so it elapsed. So it had to go back to the 10th Assembly. And the 10th Assembly had just started work. As at the chairman of House of Reps Committee on Drugs and Narcotics did refer to that in his remarks yesterday, that he looks forward to another 2 weeks or thereabouts to see how the two versions of the bill passed by House of Reps and the Senate will be harmonized so that they can have a single bill that will be sent to the President for answer.
Also, on the side of the law enforcement agency in Nigeria, NDLEA has intensified its operations, intercepting illicit substances and prosecuting offenders. Collaborations with the international agencies such as United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, to combat drug trafficking. The agencies also intensify public awareness campaigns to educate the public about the dangers of drug abuse and trafficking. Also, the Nigerian government is regulating the importation and exportation of chemical precursors to prevent their diversion for illicit drug production. To mark the United Nations International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Drug Trafficking, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, under the leadership of retired Brigadier General Muhammad Buba Marwa, commenced this year's World Drug Day with the intensive campaign in rural areas, particularly the Kuje Area Council, Abuja. On June 25, 2024, NDLEA holds a significant gathering at the Kuje Market to address the urgent issue of drug abuse. This event aligns with the World Drug Day, observed annually on June 26th, which highlights the severe global health and social threats posed by drug users.
We are here to commemorate the 2024 United Nations International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Drug Trafficking. Every June 26, we celebrate this International Day all over the country.
The 2024 theme, the evidence is clear, invest in prevention. underscores the importance of adopting evidence-based policies grounded in science, human rights, compassion, and knowledge to combat drug abuse and promote healthier lives. The grand finale program for the commemoration of the United Nations International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Drug Trafficking on Wednesday, the 26th of June, 2024, at the State House Conference Center, Abuja. The chairman of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, General Buba Marwa, in his address at the occasion has this to say.
So the focus of this is for parents in their homes to acquire them. And we have thousands of them in all our commands. And very soon, we are going to also see to it that the pharmacies in the country acquire them. So it gets even more accessible.
During the occasion, the remark by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, assures the organization that the government's commitment to support them to succeed in providing adequate facilities to the system.
Government approved the purchase of more operational vehicles, arms and ammunition, and what have you for the NDLEA.
Well, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is a very, very positive initiative by the NDLEA under the leadership of General Buba Marwa. And it affords all of us the opportunity to make use of it. Don't hesitate. We love our kids. On behalf of Mr. President, let me show you this to the Nigerian public. And once again, I appeal to you to make use of it. Thank you very much.
Some of the side attractions of the program were the launch of Save Our Family campaign equipment and the presentation of prizes to the winners of the inter-secondary school essay competition, among others. The Nigerian government has made progress in tackling drug trafficking and abuse, but more needs to be done. The government should increase investment in drug demand reduction and rehabilitation programs to strengthen law enforcement, address socio-economic factors like poverty and unemployment, and collaborate with civil society and international partners to find long-lasting solutions.
Like I told you, there is no denying the fact that cannabis is the most commonly abused in Nigeria and indeed in the world. But in Nigeria in particular, because it is grown, cultivated, and processed here. And we have the preponderance of the cultivation and processing is largely in the south, even though it's something that has spread across every part of the country now. But then when you talk of the preponderance, where it's mostly cultivated and processed, largely in the southwest and south-south, that is in Ondo State. But you know, when you are mentioning, or I don't want to, I mean, it's, yeah, that you can't, we have done operations across across about 3-4 states that cuts across about more than 10 local governments, from Ekiti, Ondo to from Ogun, Ekiti, Ondo, and Edo, including Delta. So all of these, when I mention those quantity of illicit drugs that we see, majority of them are cannabis. And I'll tell you that within the same period, we had destroyed more than 1,057 hectares of cannabis farms. These are farms way deep in forests, in deep forest. Most of these farms, I'll tell you that in most cases, It takes our operatives 6-7 hours to get there, not in vehicles, not on motorbikes, but by foot, because their areas totally cut off from accessibility. So you can't access them by road, you can't access them by vehicle or by motorbike. You have to trek into those places. And if you follow our activities, you would have seen, especially in a place like Edo, that our men have come a number of times under heavy attacks. Yeah, last year, early this year, I have pictures, I have videos, a lot of those, so where our men had come under heavy attack, and that's why the leadership of the agency had to retool our strike force. That is a dedicated unit in the agency, well trained, well armed. They are the people that go into these difficult terrains. So they are like the tip of our spear. Do you understand? Those are the people that go to confront this because they are well armed inside the forest there. So you need well armed, well equipped individuals, and now we are responding to that. Like I told you, within the same period of time, we have destroyed more than 1,000 hectares. You know what that means? I'm not talking of acres, hectares. Yes.
Okay. This collective effort can ensure a safer future for Nigerians and create a drug-free nation. Indeed, the evidence is clear, and the solution is to invest in prevention.
Madina Abdusemiu, iMedia reports.